further ado, Lee, give you your opportunity to tell us how you got us here and also why this is important to you.
Wish I could take credit for getting us here. I am just one small voice in this wonderfully big initiative. And I want to start off by just thanking you, Athan, and you, May, for all of the hard work that you have put into this initiative. It's your leadership along with the steering committee's hard work that really has made this all possible. And so a big thank you to the two of you as well as to the steering committee. What attracted me to this initiative? And before it was big, it was a group of people getting together and talking about what we might do as a community of Black leaders to start an initiative that would be an endowment. And that was very attractive to me because when you set up an endowment, you're talking about providing funds that will not only help the community now, but we're talking about future generations. And so we're beginning to invest in the Black community and to look at what those needs are that we can best serve and to do some good now, but also to put in place funding that will benefit those who are coming after us. I've heard Athan say on many occasions that we have a strong tradition in the Black community, philanthropic. I don't know if we've always thought of it in that way, but indeed it is, because we've usually done that through the Black church. We've given to historically Black colleges. We've had our fraternities and sororities that always do good works in their communities. And so we've got that tradition. This just expands that tradition. And it's going to make big things happen in the Black community in Greensboro. I can think of no better organization than the Community Foundation of Greater Greensboro to be under that umbrella. Because I think of the foundation as really an honest broker in our community. And my association with CFGG goes back to my early days in Greensboro. I received a grant for a summer camp for middle school students when I was working at Bennett College. And I see my friend Tara Sandercock is on this call. And so I kind of came to the foundation through the good work that she does in grant making. And then later I went on to serve 2 terms on the board of directors. So I have a long history with the foundation and have a lot of respect for it as an organization. So I was happy when Athan reached out and he and May were talking about doing something big before it had the name. And that's been just great. This is going to be an opportunity for the foundation to really extend and expand its work in the Black community. And I'm grateful that the Kellogg Foundation provided some seed funding for the foundation to bring in communities of color. That's been absolutely wonderful. I take pride in the fact that it is a Black-led initiative and that the initial contributions came from Blacks. But of course, we welcome contributions from anyone. It's a big tent. And so those who believe in the goal, the objectives, and the values of BIG, we ask that you engage with us in this work and become part of what we are doing. The focus. Well, when I think about where I want to invest my time and my financial resources, I look at the organization, and I've already spoken about my respect for the Community Foundation, but I also want to see what is it you intend to do with the money that I'm going to give you. And the initial focus of grant making, when we get to that $3 million mark, will be some of the most critical needs in our community. We're talking about the need that small businesses, small business development, how important that is. Because when we develop small businesses, that means that we are going to be circulating dollars within our community before they go outside of that community. And that becomes very important. It's an important way to build wealth, not only for individuals, but also for the community and to provide goods and services. So that's going to be one of the target areas that BIG will focus on. And then the other two, the need to address the health disparities in our community and the need to do something about this gulf in the digital divide. COVID-19 raised to very high prominence the disparities in our community in terms of health. We knew they were there, but COVID-19 made others, a much broader audience, aware of those disparities. When you look at COVID-19, and I look at the dashboard for North Carolina, at the end of December of 2020, the number of deaths among Blacks from COVID-19 was about 10% higher than our proportion in the state of North Carolina. We are about 21% of the population of North Carolina, and we were right around 30% of the deaths. Now, I looked just the other day, and as of the 1st of March, that has improved, but it's still higher. We're still at about 21% of the population of the state, but we are 25% of the deaths from COVID-19. And why is that? It's because we often do not have access to quality health care. We might have high numbers of people who are working in the service economy. They couldn't work from home and Zoom like we do. They had to be out there among the people. And so they had wider exposure to the virus. We want to do something about those health disparities. And then as an educator who started out as an elementary school teacher, and at heart, I have always been a teacher, although I've spent more years in higher education administration, but I have a heart for teaching. And when you look at, again, the pandemic forced online learning, my church has a partnership with a school on the east side of Greensboro. We had a Zoom meeting with the principal of that school during the early months of the pandemic. So it was around March, April. And what he said was so disturbing because they had gone to online instruction, but only about 43% of the students at that school were tuning in to that instruction. What does that mean? It means that those children are falling farther and farther behind. And it will be a steep climb for them to make up in reading and math, those basic subjects, the time that's been lost. Now, I applaud the fact that the Guilford County public school system moved right away to get devices in the hands of students. You had nonprofit organizations that were contributing. The school system ordered those devices at the beginning of the pandemic, but some of those devices did not get to us until the first of this year. So you had students who were without devices, they were without easy access to Wi-Fi. So we have this yawning gap between the digital haves and the digital have-nots. And BIG is going to really work to close that divide. So I am so pleased to support this initiative because I think that the steering committee has identified critical needs in the Black community. And I'm a big donor because of that. So thank you so much for the opportunity to share that.
Lee, thank you. You just helped me reduce a lot of the time. Couldn't have asked for a better testimonial, especially I like how you tapped on BIG is going to be doing strategic going upstream, as we like to say, looking at some of the opportunities, like you said, take the digital divide. It could be an issue that leads to maybe we need to have better policy where the infrastructure reaches the homes, or maybe we are supporting the changing the culture in the household and do different ways to make sure the access that our children aren't falling behind. That's what BIG is, to be an effective or creative problem solving. And as May always says, with BIG, we will let data drive what we do, but we also think unconventionally, and that's an exciting thing about what philanthropy can do. And BIG is going into that mode of thinking and being strategic and looking critically and evaluating how and where we place our investments. You did such an excellent job. Thank you for being BIG.